Alright, welcome to the next installment on how to make stencils, or sorry, tattoo stencils, since in case you randomly got on this page, video, what do you want to call it. Now, this time we're going to cover using pens and markers. We'll cover how these look and what all you'll need to create that tattoo stencil. If you saw the previous video, you kind of already got an idea of what we'll be doing. If you haven't, well, then pay attention. Later. You know.
Okay. Much the same as last time, you'll need a piece of tracing paper and your design. Okay. And this time you will actually need, also number 2 pencil. You'll actually need to have tracing paper because regular paper doesn't exactly work very well for this particular way of making stencils. So same as before, you just sit there and trace out your design, something like this. Okay, and also make sure that you put, just to indicate which side you're actually supposed to be tracing, or which side you're actually going to put the stencil on. Having a nice scrap of paper is always good. You'll also need ballpoint pens. I got a pack of 10 of each of these for, I think it was less than $1 a piece. So that's not bad. It's like 9 cents and some change for each of these pens. Also got a pack of acrylic markers for, again, less than $1, and pretty easy. Now I prefer to use the blue ones. They stand out very well on the skin, but they won't be so dark that you can't tell where your lines are. Much like before, we're going to start out with a ballpoint pen and basically go over the design. Then we'll do the same thing to this one, and we'll trace this one out with the marker. And this is much easier than using the dip pen for obvious reasons. But yeah. Now note that because of the how small the actual ballpoint is, that the lines will be fairly thin in comparison to using the dip pens. Anyway, let's go. If you need thicker lines, you can just kind of like thicken them up as you go along. It's really easy, just if you need it. Take your time. You're not in a huge hurry. This isn't a process that you have to speed, you have to be in a hurry about. All right. With the marker, the lines will be a little thicker, and you still have to be mindful of the ink and whatnot. Here we go. Again, another perfectly usable stencil. Now you can see the difference in the line thicknesses. You can see how with the ballpoint pen, a little finer details on the lines, pretty easy. And there you have it. Pretty quick. Again, you're not in a rush. You can take your time. With less pressure, more pressure you apply with the marker, the darker it is, the thicker the lines. Okay. The pen, it doesn't really, it's the same thing. The lines get a little bit darker, but they don't get too much more, they don't get too thicker. Obviously, there's finite space that it could actually do. But either way, but you're not beholden on to just these colors here. You can use just about any of the colors in here. Yellow is not going to do any good. Brown, you could use brown. Pink and whatnot, you know, that you can use, you know, try them out. You know, it doesn't really take much. It doesn't cost much, so you can fiddle around with these all day long. There are other applications, other uses. Same thing with the pens. I prefer the blue, but you can use the black and even the red. And you can do a combination, depending on the actual stencil, a combination of markers and pens. But yeah, other than that, time for the outro. Well, that wraps up the use of pens and markers to create tattoo stencils. Now, before we go, you notice that I kind of in the beginning showed you guys these ones, the dollar store markers, and then whenever I showed you the actual procedure, I used Corello. Pretty simple. I had these at the when I filmed the first part, and I had these when I had the second part. Kind of obvious. But whereas these are $1, these are a whole, I think, 94 cents. So either way, and you can find these in any grocery store that sell, you know, in the school supply section. Now, if you're thinking that there's no way in hell any of that, you know, the pen or marker doesn't work as a stencil, one, kind of think of any of the videos you've seen of tattoo artists where they draw on someone's skin, they use a marker and they use a pen. They sell like skin pens that are nothing more than a ballpoint pen without, you know, the whole plastic part. Now, whenever I first started tattooing, I mean day one, the first stencil I ever put on was one that was made by using a ballpoint pen. And I think for the first year and some change, I was using ballpoint pens and markers, specifically Crayola markers, to create stencils. That allowed me to end up building a portfolio that eventually got me into my first shop and led me on the path of becoming a professional tattoo artist. So I'm going to tell you right now, they work fairly well. It may take trial and error a couple times, but all in all, it's pretty easy. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video where I go over one of my favorite ways of doing tattoo stencils. All right, later.